Hey everybody, it's Alex here from Android Headlines, and we're back with another video on the Galaxy Note 3. This one is 30 plus tips and tricks for the Galaxy Note 3. We actually did a video like this for the G2, which was about 15 tips, because there's not as many features as there is on the Galaxy Note 3. But it was a very popular video, so we thought we'd do it again for the Galaxy Note 3. So to start off, we're going to go in and talk about air gesture, which you can turn that on in the settings. So here you got air gesture. It works for 4 different features. You've got quick glance, air jump, air browse, and air call accept. The easiest one to show off on video is quick glance. So we're gonna turn it off. Okay, it doesn't seem to work all like 100% of the time, but if your phone is laying flat on a like a table surface like this, you can wave your hand over the top of it, and it'll show you the clock, the your missed calls, your emails, battery, and your other notifications that you have. Then there's also Air View, which I believe I have it enabled. Yep. And this works with the S Pen. So as you see, I've got everything checked for the S Pen. So let's take out the S Pen. So let's go into gallery, because that's also the easiest way to show off Air View. So if you hover over, just a little bit over, where you can actually see the cursor of the S Pen on like a picture or a let me go ahead and take a screenshot so we can have some other pictures in here. Okay, let's go back into the gallery so you can see it a little bit better. So we're gonna hover over the screenshots one, and you can see 3 different pictures there. So it's pretty cool. You can also do, this is part of air gesture as well, is you can swipe back and forth between them all. So if like you got wet hands but you want to check something, like you want to check your pictures in your gallery or something like that, just go ahead and swipe back and forth. It's pretty cool. I don't see that I would use it a whole lot, but it's there. Now jumping into the lock screen, there's actually a lot of tips and tricks just on the lock screen, which is probably pretty surprising to a lot of you. Let's put the S Pen back in here. So here you got the screen lock, which is your typical screen lock that you see on every Android device. You can you can do signature, pattern, pin, password, just the normal swipe, which is what I have since I'm doing a video. Now to turn on lock screen widgets, you need to turn on multiple widgets, which you can also, so on the lock screen, you've got the lock screen on the first page, and you swipe over from the right, you can get into your favorite apps or into the camera, which I like the camera better, which I'll show you that in just a second. So you can swipe all the way over to the camera. And lock screen widgets do work. You basically just swipe down from the clock, and it'll show you the time, along with like some of your stuff on the calendar. Let's turn this back on. And you can swipe over. You can add another widget. So we'll just add the clock. You can add another widget. Let's go with Google Now. Well, I don't think I set up Google Now yet. So we'll jump back into the lock screen settings. And you can also change up the shortcuts, which you have to turn it on. You just long press, drag it down to delete it. Then you can go ahead and add some other ones. So we'll add Google Plus and put that over there, actually. And then now we'll add Gmail, which those are the shortcuts I like to have on my device. So now when you go into the lock screen, you've got your, zoom out a little bit so you can see. You've got your icons down at the bottom, your shortcuts, which if you swipe up from the icon, it'll jump straight into the app. which is it's pretty cool. I honestly don't use it a whole lot. I'm used to stock Android devices, so which don't have that unless I've flash signage them out or something. You can also do a personal message, which will show up on the lock screen. So let's go ahead and type Android headlines. And you can also change the color. So let's go with black. You can also change the font. So now when you go into the lock screen, you can see right on up there. It's kind of hard to see because the color and the font, but it's right there at the top. That's your lock screen message now. So you can turn that back off too. You got the unlock effect, which I have it on watercolor right now. Usually I just turn it off. You've also got ripple. Basically what it allows you to do is on the lock screen, you can see how the water is like it's turning colors or whatever. You can hover above it and it'll do that, even with the S Pen, and you can also just swipe above it. Wake up and lock screen is actually it's a pretty cool feature. I'm just sad that it uses S voice compared to Google Now. It's a lot like the touchless control on Moto X and the Droid Max and everything. I'll actually do a video comparing this to active or touchless control on the Moto X and Droid Ultra, since I have a few devices here that have it right now. So I set it up. You can just actually it's not do unlock. Let's do open camera. So you just tap the button on S voice, which is what it's telling me to do, and you'll say open camera, and you'll do it 4 times so it can recognize your voice, so it doesn't do it for other people, which is a pretty important feature. You can have up to 4? Yeah, you can have 4 different ones, which is pretty cool. I just wish that you didn't have to set it up individually, like on the Moto X and the Droid Max. You can just say, "Okay, Google now, blah blah blah." You don't have to set up each individual feature. You can also open up an action memo on the lock screen, which is pretty cool. Action memo is a pretty cool memo where you can actually I'll just show you, since that is one of our tips. We can just jump into Air Command and talk about that next. So this is Air Command right here, which if you pull out the S Pen, it'll automatically show up unless you've changed that setting. You can also hit the button right there on the side of the S Pen when it's hovering over the phone, and it'll open up that like fan type window. It's kind of like Pi from Paranoid Android. But we've got 5 different features here. We've got pen window, S Finder, screen write, scrapbooker, and then action memo. With action memo, you can go ahead and let's get rid of that tutorial. You can write a number like and then hit the link to action. Get rid of that tutorial too, and we'll just add it to contacts, and we'll do device. So it took the 1, 2, 3 and thought it was PG for some reason. I'm not sure why. Usually it's a lot better than that, but it's very easy to get that set up. Also inside Air Command, you've got Scrapbooker, which allows you to circle a part of the screen as a tutorial showing you, and save that inside Scrapbooker. So we'll go ahead and circle that part, and let's close out that action memo. So now I circled the part of my screen that has the Play Store, Play Music, and Instagram, so that I can go ahead and I can save it. I can create a different category, all kinds of things, or I can just get rid of it. Also inside the Scrapbooker, you can I already said you can do different categories, but you can have it set it up for different ways. You can save pictures, you can save icons, you can save videos. Right now though, if you save a video from YouTube to Scrapbooker, it doesn't work correctly. It takes you to YouTube to play instead of playing it through the video player, which is how it's supposed to do. there's an update that's out for the international and unlocked version, I think, right now. The carrier versions, like this one, doesn't have it quite yet, so I can't really show it off. Going back into Air Command, got a few other features we want to show off, like screen write. Basically takes a screenshot of your device and then it allows you to write on it. So you can go ahead and like circle an icon. You can change the color of the pen. You can also change the pen tip as well as how thick the pen tip is. So we'll go with blue. And you can do all kinds of stuff. You can then save it or you can share it wherever you want. In all your typical sharing places. You can also save it or discard it, which I'm just going to discard it. And there's a couple other options in here in Air Command. There's S Finder, which is basically your search. You can go ahead, you can search for the past 30 days, past 7 days, yesterday. You can search for handwriting, notes, all kinds of different things. It seems like it's really useful, but I don't keep a lot of stuff on my phone that's not apps or like really just apps and pictures. But for people that handwrite a lot or take notes on their Galaxy Note, it's going to be really useful. There's also Pen Noodle, which is actually my favorite feature from Air Command. You can just draw a square of any size, and you've got all kinds of apps here that you can open up. So we can open up YouTube, and we'll go back into Air Command again. Open up another window, and let's do the phone. So now you've got two windows open on top of everything else on there. And if you just want to, let me go back into it. There's a little bit of a lag there. If you just want to minimize it, it'll just show up like that. So if you go into like Twitter, you'll have a clock there, which you can move around. You can do the same thing when you actually open the app. You can move it around, etc. You can resize it, make it full screen. It's pretty cool. It's one of my favorite features. I just wish more apps worked with it. We're going to show you screenshots next, which we showed you one way before, which is screen write. So let's go into the app drawer and take a screenshot of that, so it's something a little bit different. So if you go into Air Command, tap on screen write, it'll take a screenshot, and you can either just share it like that, or you can write all over it, you know, typical stuff. So that's one way to take a screenshot. Let's put the S Pen back for now. Another way is you can do the palm motion. You just swipe across with your whole palm and it'll take the screenshot. And there's actually a third way, which is the most easiest, unless you want to take the S Pen out and use Air Command or screen write. The power button along with the home button together, and there's the screenshot. That's just how easy it is to take a screenshot on the Galaxy Note 3, which we have a actually separate video for that because a lot of people ask us how to do that, surprisingly. Next up is Smart Screen, which is, it's not really something new in the Note 3. It started in the S3 back last year, and they added a couple more features in the S4 this year. Smart Stay is really the only one I actually use. What it does is it uses your front-facing camera to see if you're still looking at the screen once you've hit like the 15 or 30-second screen timeout mark. And if you're not looking at the screen, it'll turn off. But if you are, it'll stay on. Which you can actually see it. See the icon right up there in the status bar next to the mute symbol. Then there's Smart Rotation, which once you rotate it is supposed to go, yeah, it should be a little bit quicker than that, I think. But that's basically what Smart Rotation does. What Smart Pause does is if you're playing a video and you look away from the video, it'll pause, which I think it does a little bit too often, because if I'm watching a video and I blink, it pauses, but it doesn't always start back up. It's gotten pretty annoying for me, so I've actually turned that one off. And Smart Scroll, unfortunately, it only works in the stock internet browser, which kind of sucks because I don't really use that one. I use Chrome instead. So now we're gonna go into, take out the S Pen again. We're gonna jump into the stock browser. Here it is. We're actually going to show you how to handwrite a web address. So if you hover over there, you'll see like a little pen tip there. Direct pen input force closed on me. So we're going to write and then we're going to hit go. And it actually didn't, it looks like it didn't get it completely. Okay, I thought my C was a parentheses, that's why. But you can go ahead, you can write out a full web address and go, the handwriting recognition on here is pretty good, even though it didn't really catch that well. But overall, it's pretty good. Normally, I don't have any issues with it. Next up is the camera, which there are a few features in here that are pretty nice in the camera. Let's get another phone in here so we can have something to take pictures of. So in here, in the camera app, of course, right up here in the corner, you've got the, to switch the cameras. Then you've got the, you can take a picture of yourself, like you can see me right there. So you can be in the shot while you're taking the picture, which is pretty cool. Then you've got, all your settings. You got your share, your video, your flash, etc. Over here you got all your different settings, and one thing I wanted to point out under the video, if you want to do 4K, you're going to need to change that to 4K. Which you actually, I don't think you can record more than like 5 minutes of 4K. Kind of expected that though, because 4K uses a lot of space. So inside you've got these other modes. You got auto, beauty, face, best photo, best face, surround shot, drama, animated photo, which is basically a GIF, golf, HDR, rich tone, eraser, panorama, surround shot, sports, and then back to auto. So if you want to go ahead and focus in on something, just do that and take the shot. The shutter is a little bit slow compared to like the G2, kind of surprised me, but it's still pretty fast. Now if you want to check out different filters, the arrow down there at the bottom gives you all kinds of filters you can use. So like this one looks pretty cool, so let's try that one. And so now you can see the picture I just took. So there's not a whole lot different in the camera app, but there are a few things. Let's go ahead and zoom back in so you can see this better. Now we're going to move on to the home button, which there's actually quite a few tips in here. So right here on the right side, we got the, well, you got, the standard Android task manager here, which right here you can clear all of them, or you can just swipe them away. So we'll just clear them all right there. And in the center, you've got Google Now, which I had pressed by mistake a minute ago. And then over on the left side, you got your task manager, which here you've got the storage. So as you see, I got about 8 gigs used out of the 32, which most of it is pre-installed Samsung stuff since I just did a factory restore a few hours ago. Here you've got all your defaults, which I actually have another launcher installed, but even if you don't, TouchWiz Home will still be there because of the easy mode, which is a whole nother launcher for TouchWiz. You can go ahead and clear stuff from there. Then you have your RAM, which it's nice. It's a good idea to clear this out like once or twice a day. It'll help you with battery life. It'll also help it keep running smoothly. And then over here, you got all your downloaded apps, which you can uninstall from right here. And then these are all your active apps, which you can go ahead and end all, which is the same as force closing, which is pretty cool to have. There's also USB 3.0 charging on here. Let's turn that off. So you've got the USB 3.0 port, but if you lose the charger that came with it, it is backwards compatible to 2.0, so but it'll only use the big side there. The other side won't get used. So now let's jump back into here. And there's one other thing that I probably don't need to show off, but I'm going to show it off anyways. Is how to create a folder in TouchWiz, because it's different from any other skin or even stock Android. Basically, if you want to create a folder, you take the icon, drag it up to create a folder, and type a name. We'll just go with social. And then you can drag other ones on top of it. And that's how you create a folder. It's a little different from everybody else, but it still works. So those are 30 plus, probably closer to 40 tips and tricks for you to use on your brand new Galaxy Note 3. We're going to have plenty more Galaxy Note 3 content because pretty much half of our staff have a Galaxy Note 3. So we're going to be doing a lot of stuff on it. We don't just have a reviewing it for a couple of weeks. We've got it pretty much until we upgrade to another phone. So we'll see you in the next video.